Good evening. Welcome once again to the mock test offered by Professor Academy for the upcoming UGC NET English. And let's discuss another 10 questions. Question number 1. Which of the texts concerning cultural studies was written by John Fiske, Fiske? Option A, the uses of literacy. B, reading the popular. C, policing the crisis. D, keywords. See, in today's session, we are going to discuss some of the questions related to cultural studies, because cultural studies is a separate topic for UGC NET English. So let's focus on cultural studies. Answer, reading the popular. We are looking at some of the significant texts under cultural studies. So for instance, the uses of literacy is a famous book, a kind of a landmark book under cultural studies written by Richard Hoggart, Hoggart. Then we have John Fiske, reading the popular. Let's also look at the other options. We have policing the crisis. It's a collection of essays. One of the important contributor and editor, we have Stuart Hall. Then keywords is a significant text by Raymond Williams. Next question. We have assertion in short A, reason in short R. We have an assertion here. The cultural critics Richard Hoggart, whom we looked at just now, and Raymond Williams rejected the Lewisite model of practical criticism. This is the statement or assertion. Reason. The Lewisite, Leavisite. The Lewisite refers to something inspired from F.R. Lewis, the critic. So reason, the Lewisite model was concerned with a highly select canon of great works in favor of a more expansive view of culture. So what you have to do? So there are options. First, you have to ask yourself whether Richard Hoggart, the cultural critics, and Raymond Williams dismissed this model. Why is this the reason? Because this model concerned especially with only the great works, not all the works of culture. If you reason this out, then you can narrow down the answer. Option A, both A and R, assertion and reason, are true, and R is the true explanation of A. B, both A and R are true, but R is not the true explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. D, A is false, but R is true. Answer, A. Both A and R are true, and R is the true explanation of A. Because when we say Lewisism, named after critic F.R. Lewis, who is known for this famous work, The Great Tradition. In this work, he said the great English novelists are Jane Austen, George Eliot, Henry James, and Joseph Conrad. So this is not a comprehensive representation of English literature or in England. Only the select, what we call canon. So F.R. Lewis sometimes leaves out some of the important writers. So there is a kind of divide between high culture and low culture. But when it comes to cultural studies, there is no difference between high culture or low culture. Everything is same, whether it is popular culture or elite culture, both are treated equally under cultural studies. So the statement is right. The cultural critics, Richard Hoggart and Raymond Williams, rejected the Lewisite model of practical criticism because this model was concerned with a highly selective canon of great works. Okay. Then next question. Who succeeded Richard Hoggart as the director of the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies in 1968 at the University of Birmingham? You might know this center, established cultural studies as a field of study at the University of Birmingham. So answer. So he was the first director, Richard Hoggart. So who succeeded him as the director of this center? Option A, Stuart Hall. B, Richard Johnson. C, Raymond Williams. D. E.P. Thompson. Answer A. Stuart Hall. So Stuart Hall became the director of the center from 1968 till 1979, and his famous essay, Cultural Studies, Two Paradigms. Next question. Of the journals associated with cultural studies, which one was published by the Birmingham Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies? Option A, Universities and Left Review. B, New Reasoner. C, New Formations. D, Working Papers in Cultural Studies. Answer. Working Papers in Cultural Studies. This was the journal published by the Birmingham Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies. But all the other journals are somehow related to cultural studies in general. So this is the journal, what you see on the screen, Working Papers in Cultural Studies. Next question. Which term was originally used by the Canadian critic Northrop Frye and later gained wider currency by Hayden White's studies in historiography? So historiography refers to history writing. So option A, thick description. B, subculture. C, structures of feeling. D, meta-history. Answer. There is almost a clue. I would say this is a bit straightforward question. Answer D, meta-history. So that is the concept originally used by Northrop Frye. Then it was made famous or popular by Hayden White. Other concepts, we have thick description. It is associated with Clifford Geertz, Geerts. Then subculture, we have Dick Hebdige, Hebdige. Then structures of feeling, Raymond Williams. Let's look at meta-history. See, there is a book called Meta-History, The Historical Imagination in 19th Century Europe by Hayden White. So what does this title mean? So for Hayden White, even history writing, historiography is a form of fiction, a narrative fiction. Even history is narrated as a story, which has fictional elements because the historian is not objective all the time. Even the historian has a point of view. Since the historian has a point of view, the historian, arranges the events not chronologically, but events are arranged in such a way it looks like a story with a happy ending or sad ending or with an intention. So history writing is also a form of fiction. So that's his claim. Next, the journal representations is associated with option A, queer theory, B, new historicism, C, cultural materialism, D, rhizome theory. All these theories and schools of criticism are important. Please look up these queer theory, rhizome theory, and critical historicism and cultural materialism. What you can do, look up these and try to find some of the major critics and their works. So answer to this question, new historicism. So the journal representations is associated with new historicism because when we say new historicism, we are reminded of this famous critic, Stephen Greenblatt. And he was one of the co-founders of this journal representations. Next one. The title of Subaltern Studies, a series of volumes edited by Indian critic Ranajit Guha, alludes to the dictionary definition of subaltern as, simply put, what is the meaning of subaltern? What is the original meaning of subaltern? Because later it became a field of study called subaltern studies and spearheaded by Ranajit Guha. Option A, of inferior rank. B, of inferior race. C, of superior rank. D, of superior race. Answer A, of inferior rank. Subaltern refers to, when it comes to British or when the British Raj or in the British Raj, under British government, Indian officers or soldiers, they held only of inferior rank under the British officers. So that refers to subaltern. Okay. But here's a question for you, or two questions for you. Number one, who wrote this essay called Can the Subaltern Speak? Very famous essay. Then another question, who originally used this term subaltern? It was used by an Italian thinker. So what is the name of that Italian thinker who coined this term subaltern, or it is generally associated with this Italian Marxist? Then it was used by a famous critic who wrote this essay called Can the Subaltern Speak? Next, which of the following is a key notion in the semiotics of Charles Sanders Peirce? P-E-I-R-C, but it's pronounced Peirce. Option A, signifier. B, it should be signified. C, lang. D, representament. I would say if you are aware of Ferdinand de Saussure, Swiss linguist, you can eliminate three options because all these ideas are associated with Ferdinand de Saussure, Swiss linguist. According to him, a sign consists of two elements. Signifier, signified, and lang is also associated with him. So the answer is D. Charles Sanders Peirce. This is one of his ideas. So let's look at his idea. So he called the study of science semiotics, whereas Ferdinand de Saussure called the study of science, S-I-G-N-S, semiology. So according to Charles Sanders Peirce, a sign has three major elements, but for Saussure only two elements: signifier, signified. So we have triadic sign: representament, object, interpretant. I-N-T-R-P-R-E-T-A-N-T. Simple. Representament is an equivalent of Saussure's signifier. Object is an equivalent of Saussure's signified. When you say representament, for instance, when I say India, this is a graphic sign. You can see it, or you can listen to what I say, India. So the form taken by a sign to represent an object is called representament. Okay. So it could be in the form of auditory signs, sound, or written one, graphic. And the object or the thing a sign refers to is the object, your idea of India or the Indian map. That's your idea of Indian culture. Then out of this representament and object, you make a meaning out of it in your mind. See, interpretant it's not a person, but the meaning made out of this sign is called interpretant. So this is a triadic model, or Peircean model of the sign. So what you can do, you can compare Saussure's model of sign and Peirce's model of the sign. Next one. What is the name of the American journal published quarterly by the University of Chicago's Department of English since 1974? Option A, The Dial. B, Critical Enquiry. C, The Tatler. D, Signs, S-I-G-N-S. Simple. You have the University of Chicago's Department of English. Name of the journal published by the department. Answer B, Critical Enquiry. Next. What is the central theme of Virginia Woolf's novel Orlando? A, Écriture féminine, E-C-R-I-T-U-R-E, Écriture féminine. B, androgyny, A-N-D-R-O-G-Y-N-Y. Then C, womanism. D, anxiety of influence. All these concepts are very significant. Answer B, androgyny. So according to Virginia Woolf, in her work, A Room of One's Own, she says, a writer should possess the quality of both a masculine mind as well as a feminine mind. So a productive mind or a creative mind should be made of masculine and feminine qualities, so that they can produce, writers can produce, a balanced work. So this is her idea of androgyny, and it is represented in her work Orlando. Other concepts we have écriture féminine associated with the French critic Helen Cixous, C-I-X-O-U-S. Then we have feminism, the term coined by Alice Walker. But let me know in the comments. Alice Walker is known for a famous epistolary novel. What is the name of that epistolary novel? Next, anxiety of influence was coined by the critic Harold Bloom. So with this, we finish today's session, and tomorrow's session, the last one, we will discuss another 10 questions. Thank you so much for, if you want to join courses or UGC NET or TNSIP, you can contact these numbers 70701005 or same numbers with a single different end 70701009. Thank you.